Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today on the Leaders in Logistics and Supply Chain series. Today, I'm joined by a gentleman who I've been following online for quite some time, and he has got a very interesting background. He's from a very big company in technology and logistics and supply chain, based in the Middle East, and it is my great pleasure to introduce Shahab Wahdatehagh. Hey, Shahab, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, Kim. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks for joining us. And I'm glad I got you because I understand you're heading off for about 5 or 6 weeks into Europe in one place and another, right?
That is correct. I look forward to this conversation and coming back again to Dubai.
Good job. So Shahab, you're VP Global Trade and Intelligence EMEA for Descartes. I'd love to get our guests to give us a breakdown on their organisation, obviously, but also like to hear a little bit about, from a personal side, about the upbringing and what got you into tech and logistics and supply chain. So where did it all start for Shahab?
So where did it all start? It started in Iran when I was born, I guess. Okay. So born in Iran, raised and grew up between Iran, Germany, and Venezuela, Latin America. And I actually we always made the joke, I was the only Iranian on the German school in Caracas. So, and that has stayed the same. So it hasn't never changed. Nobody else went there with my background. Yeah, and I got into technology, I guess. I studied mechanical engineer in Germany and with a focus on automation, factory automation, and supply chain systems. And went into technology right after university and more and more into business process, what business processes mean, how technology can support business processes across supply chains. After a few years in the industry, I moved to an American company, ERP Systems, QAD, where the first 10 years that I was there, I was in the consulting branch, helped build up our consulting services, and then into the sales organization, where I helped build up the strategic accounts organization. And then the last bit more than 2 years ago, I moved over to the UAE, to Dubai, where I helped a large regional player in the logistics and freight forwarding business to help build up also their strategic account and key account management organization. And now I am with Descartes, where I am spearheading the growth of a dedicated EMEA pillar for global trade intelligence.
So from a personal side, you must speak a number of languages. What are they?
Okay, so I would say German is my strongest language, followed by English, followed by Spanish, Persian, and I can survive in French and Portuguese.
Sensational. Love it. You're a genuine United Nations delegate.
Yeah. Well, one day maybe. Not yet.
Good stuff. Hey, so tell us a little bit about Descartes. Enormous organisation, North American based. Tell us about the company.
Sure. So Descartes is a Canadian software supplier for the logistics and supply chain industries. And basically, the motto is we support organizations move the world. And we have different areas of products and solutions, whether it's in e-commerce, supporting companies who are doing e-commerce businesses, whether it's in the area of routing, where we have solutions, where it is about delivery and last mile delivery coordination. And also into my area, which is global trade intelligence, where we have different focus areas from the solutions that we provide. One is denied party screening and sanctions, helping organizations to be compliant in an ever more complicated environment and world, to manage their business activities, whether it's towards B2B or whether it's about individuals and countries and export compliance. A second area of products in this pillar is about generally trade agreements, classifications of products. So basically enabling organizations to have everything correct as they are exporting products across borders and supplying into regions and countries. And then we also have a very nice solution, interesting solution that is a classical intelligence, data intelligence analytics system, where we collect information from different customs organizations around the world and then provide a solution and a framework for organizations to basically analyze flows of goods at a classification level across the value stream as well as the stream of the supply chain.
So if I play that out, Shahab, and we look at somebody I know in this household that has an enormous account with Amazon, And if we talk about the various goods, see many splendid variety that roll in through Amazon and through other online players. From what I can understand, is every product or every good that comes through and if it's coming especially across border internationally or regionally, that good's got to have complied, that the supplier, whether it be Amazon or whether it be the manufacturer, needs to comply with a whole range of classifications and laws and rules between different countries for that product to actually transport, right?
That is correct. So absolutely spot on. So there are a huge number of regulations that apply whenever you're basically moving goods across borders internationally, as well as when you're supplying just goods to a final destination and a buyer, to that matter, whether that buyer is an individual or whether it's a company. And yes, it is about starting with the proper classification. So what are the goods that are being exported? So that in order to have the proper documentation for customs and all the declarations that are necessary. Going with that is the question of, are there any special treatments for these products when it is about moving out of one country and into another country? Are there tax as well as customs consequences, preferential treatments for given products? Are there potentially limitations as to what may be exported? It's whether you're buying a hair clip or whether you're buying something which is a cosmetic product will be treated differently than a product that may have a different kind of usage potential, whether it's electronics or whether it's other goods that can have a dual use classification. And then so they would fall under export control requirements in some cases, and would need to be determined, is it at all allowed to export that product into a different country, when it's into a certain country. And then obviously on the receiving side, it's the calculation, the ability to calculate what are the landing costs, what are the taxations on the receiving side. And finally, is at all the receiving entity somebody who I should be doing business with, or maybe is on a potential sanctions list, on a denied party list, on a search list, any type of list. So there is. And all of these things happen indeed in the background. When I order something on Amazon, all of that chain of, checks and controls is happening. Whether it is that I buy something on Amazon, or whether it is that I buy something on a different platform, or whether as a B2B organization I'm doing trade.
Well, it's mind-boggling, really, and it brings a whole different aspect. I mean, it's fair to say that logistics and supply chain as a general sector, which can be up to 25 to 30% of an entire economy in a country or region, has come to the fore, especially during COVID, for all the reasons that we know. So it's a good thing that the industry is to the fore, but then there's all of this other complexity in the background that I'm sure the average human walking down the street doesn't understand or doesn't realise. So it's great to be able to get that shared and that information into our mindset. What is it about Descartes that is proving so successful? I know you folks are certainly expanding operations. You're hiring extensively in a number of different regions currently that I've been able to track. What is it about Descartes that really, what problem are you trying to solve that you think you can solve better than the other guys?
So I think one of the things about Descartes is obviously the breadth of the solution that we provide. I mentioned three of the pillars. In fact, there's a few more pillars of solution that we provide into the area of supply chain and logistics. So the breadth of what we provide is one thing. And also continuously, Descartes tries to stay on the forefront of what is the market trend? Where is the industry heading? Where are the requirements developing mid to long term? We try to understand in continuous conversations with the customers what are their needs. And with that, look at continuously also augmenting our portfolio. And Descartes does that actually very nicely by continuously looking for potential acquisitions here and there that round out our portfolio to the requirements of the market. If you look at the history of Descartes, you would see that in average, we are acquiring 1 to 2 businesses every year. They're not really, huge organizations. These are important players that have a very specific solution that has an elegant outcome for companies for a given requirement in the logistic area. And I think that has helped Descartes to really be very successful. We have a global footprint. Our customers are from, whether it's the North American, in Latin America, Central Europe, Eastern Europe, over here, Middle East, Southeast Asia, and down to Australia and Asia Pacific altogether. We have a very huge base of customers, and the company has been successfully growing over the years. I mean, we have been showing continuous, substantial double-digit growth year over year, and especially now my pillar that I'm responsible for EMEA. We obviously are looking also to scale that growth for EMEA, because so far we have been using the North American organization to manage all our activities, and now we're building up a dedicated EMEA organization.
That's great. Well, thanks for sharing that detail. Giving me that insight is
absolutely,
really, I think, will be of interest to our audience. Hey, it's been great to get a snapshot with you, Shahab, on what the business is about, where you come from, what you're all about, both very complex and interesting subjects. I must say, to wrap up, I always quite often like to know what it is about the culture of the business that you think can be an attractive differentiator to bring people in, because I know you folks, as I said, are recruiting extensively. And also, what is it about the culture that you think you would like to think is going to retain people inside of Descartes?
Sure. And retaining people is obviously one of the critical pieces in this environment where talent acquisition and talent retention is quite complicated, because supply chain, and especially supply chain in combination with technology, is one of the hot business areas where people are interested in and look to move or look to stay. What is specific about the culture at Descartes? I would say from my experience, I would say there are three dimensions that I find intriguing. First dimension is our focus on innovation and solutions that have a business value impact for the customers and the industry. And I see that those solutions are actually very elegantly addressing the requirements in the industry and supply chain. The second is the growth mindset and the focus on customers. And the focus on customers and the requirements is what enables us to grow and scale and continue our journey of growth. And obviously, growing organizations are always more interesting than stagnating organizations. And I think that is one of the big attraction points as the second item. And then the third point that I personally find very nice and very attractive, and is also an important part of the conversations when we are looking to hire people, and I have been on a hiring speed, as you probably know yourself, Kim, as well. It's showing the perspective of how much of an effort we actually put into the engagement process when we are looking to interview candidates, to understand how they fit as an individual to us, we as an organization to them. Because in the end, we are looking to bring on somebody who has not only a passion and interest and capability, but also a desire to help us on our journey and stay with us for a long term. And we spend actually many, many hours in the interview processes, because we believe if the individual is supposed to be with us for the next 5, 10, 15 years, hopefully, because they believe in the solution, because they believe in the space and the culture, we're obliged to spend the necessary amount of time in understanding and making sure that they understand who we are. Also, culturally, as an organization, we put a lot of emphasis on having a really network coaching environment for the employees. So whether it's the new hired salesperson, solution consultant who has many, many years of experience, or even management themselves, we always look to support each other through continuous coaching. So we interact with each other always with the mindset of there is room for growth, there is room to improve, and always with an open mindset of how can we learn from each other's experience. I think those are really great attraction points that I personally enjoy a lot.
Good, and it's often, cliche to be saying that, we do things differently and we provide that level of authenticity inside of a business. But I've met a number of your people now. As you know, I've just returned from the UK. I was speaking at the UK Retail Logistics and Supply Chain Conference, where I ran into one of your colleagues, actually, Paul Sweeney. Yeah. So Paul's watching. Hey, Paul. And I had a great interview with him as well. And, some of the things you've talked about obviously resonated and the similar narrative from Paul. So, look, I really appreciate you joining us today. I know you've got to get off to a meeting before you head off up to Europe. And look, how can people get hold of you, Shahab, and how people can reach out into Descartes?
So getting hold of me is, you can look at LinkedIn, look me up there, connect. Always happy to have a in direct conversation. If you want also my email, we can, if you want, add it to the script here.
People can see it up here now.
Okay, perfect. And Descartes, yes, just look us up on the internet, Descartes.com, and it's spelled like DESCARTES.com, like the old philosopher and the writer.
Hey, Shahab, really good. Shahab Wahdatehagh, VP Global Trade and Intelligence for EMEA for Descartes. Excellent to talk to you. Go well in Europe. I think I might be going to bump into you. I'm in Europe again in April, so let's try and catch up. But absolutely, for a coffee in one country or another, and we look forward to keeping in touch and seeing how the journey goes for you folks over the next year or so.
Thank you very much, Kim, and I look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye.
My pleasure. Thanks, Shahab.